What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on epicseven here with Measure Gaming. And today, guys, we are going to be going over how I was able to beat the Devourer and the new raid event. So I want to give a special shout out to Fubu in our Discord. Also to, I think it was Talon or Trayon, who was also in the stream when we were taking this on. Sorry if I butchered your name, brother. But I'm going to go ahead and show you. This is the team we ran. Kind of go over the CP. And, like, my gear is all messed up in my account. Like, I just don't have the time to farm, like, a lot of gear between working and everything else. My main focus has been, honestly, about, like, getting more 6 stars and getting catalysts and making sure I complete the side stories and things like that. So I know there's a lot of other YouTubers that have so much better gear, and I'm trying to prioritize on a lot of different units. And I know that's kind of like, people are saying you should really focus on 4 to 5 units tops, but I'm trying to have a lot of variety in different teams, so I know one day I will get there with better gear, so just keep that in mind as I show you guys the units that we're using today. So let's start things off with Diane. Diane's actually, from when I recorded the beating, was probably about 2,000 CP less. So she is a little bit better today. And also her skill ups were not there as well. I believe she was only like skill 2. I think I want to say it was 2-1. 2 on her skill 2 and then 1 on her skill 3. So now you guys can see she actually has both of her 1-turn cooldowns. So her skill 3 is completely maxed. You can only get 2 level ups on that. And then she has up to skill 3 now. But when I recorded it, she had no cooldowns on either ability, so obviously now it would be even easier having more cooldowns. So during the fight, I will go over into the video, but she is useful and then she's not useful, because against Devourer, he can actually make basically cancel out all buffs. So when that happens, Diane's like pretty useless at that point. All she can do is her skill 1. Which it's very minimal damage, and all it does is increase her own combat readiness. And since she's not buffed, it's only going to be a 10% increase. So she really gets nerfed when you can't buff. When you can buff, she's insanely good. So, but your other team should get the job done. All right, so moving on to Cez. My Cez really hasn't changed in all these weeks. You know, he's had the same gear, the same attack and crit gear. The crit gear I'm cool with, but I do want to get him away from probably attack and into speed eventually. But I just, like I said, don't have the time to farm Wyvern consistently because of the amount of catalysts and side stories I have to do. And I feel that's a problem with the game, is that they really make you pick what you want to do. And it's hard to keep up when you are pulling more units and you have to get more catalysts. Like, I feel we need to have a higher catalyst drop, or they need to take out some of the catalysts needed for either awakening or skill ups. In my opinion, I just feel it's a huge time sink, and obviously a lot of people are trying to get to endgame fast, and you know, I'm just not about that. Like, I do the best I can, and that's all I can do. So, but yeah, so Cez has here, he's got almost 3,000 attack. He's got 675 defense. He's got 8,100, almost 8,200 health, 125 speed. His crit hit chance is really good, almost 100%, and crit hit damage of 180%. Effectiveness of 34, which is pretty good. Standard dual attack. He has no effect resistance, so pretty bad on that part. But you know, I would like him to be closer to like 160 to 175 speed. Like I said, if I did give him a speed set, I'm sure he would climb up to well over 150. Pretty easily, but you know, just not there with gear right now. Syrena. So Syrena is one of my favorite units to run, just because of how good she is with her skill tree. I do have her 100% in her skill tree, so she gets combat readiness like a fiend. She's using the L's Fist artifact, which, as her health decreases, attack and speed increase up to 42%, which is pretty crazy. And then she's using the Abyss tier 4 set, which is decent. I do have some of the tier 5 pieces. I just don't know how to I don't have enough resources to level them up yet. So eventually I'll swap those out, and her crit hit chance and speed and everything else will go up. But pretty good. You know, she's at 628 defense, 2,261 attack, which is pretty strong. And then speed of almost 150. So anything 150 plus on a lot of your DPS units is going to be really good, especially with someone like Syrena, who has a built-in of a minimum 20% combat readiness when you skill tree her. And then she has that chance to get even more combat readiness. And then her ult decreases combat readiness as well. So granted, the enemies in the raids, I believe, all have like a 70% chance to resist debuffs with effect resistance. So it's not going to be 100% all the time, but still pretty good nonetheless. And then the final unit we brought was Cecilia. Thankfully, with the gold not needed to reset all the different things, we were able to actually swap out gear from Acades and other units to give her a more viable CP. So, you know, for a tank at 110 speed, not too bad. Health is almost 1200. Defense almost 900, and then attack at 1130 almost. So not too bad. I'm pretty decently, you know, pleased with my Cecilia build as of right now, but obviously I want to get her stronger over time. But, you know, resources will need that. And I believe I ran a different artifact than this. I can't remember which one I ran. Maybe if I look, I think I ran Hilga Glance or something like that in the fight, but we'll have to see. So anyway, guys, that is going to be like kind of what my team layout was for this. So let's go and hop into the video and let's show you guys the replay of exactly how this all went down. So when you guys going into this, turn one, the best thing to do is probably just to go in here and basically, because you can't debuff him, you may want to just start off with Archie just to get your attack buffs up. And because he hasn't hit you with an ultimate yet, because he can completely make you immune to debuffs. So you probably want to start off with like your Archie or whatever Guardian you have. If you're using the second Guardian, which is a sneakily good option, you have to wait until you see right here where you see this little muscle thing. That means he can't be debuffed. So you have to wait till that is down. He has immunity right now, just like Angelica. That same symbol. So right here, we start off with Archie to basically get some damage on the minions. And what this does is it sets up for Cez. So we're going to be able to buff right now with DN because the enemy hasn't had a turn yet. So he hasn't been able to damage us yet. So after that, we're going to go into Cez's ult. And then Cez can wipe out the minions. And then once the minions are wiped out, after this guy's, I believe, his first turn, he's going to have his shields down, and then you can start hitting him with other minusing effects. So now that the minions are out, what you want to do is you want to singly target the boss. And I probably made some mistakes along the road. But you guys can see here now, I can't be buffed. So now DN cannot even use her barrier. So the best thing for DN to do, honestly, is just use her single target against the boss. And this was in stream, so I was like taking some comments from my viewers of like how best to tackle this, just because I was getting incredibly tilty on this fight. So yeah, so there may be a slight delay. So let me see if I can speed this up a little bit for you guys. All right, there we go. So then we go in here, and then Cez is going to basically just kind of wipe out his minions here. Boom, boom, boom. Then we go on to Syrena. Syrena still does have a buff from the Guardian and a buff from DN applied. So the buffs still are active, even though I have immunity. But here is a good time to basically try to knock him back, which unfortunately failed. But because I burned it, I get another turn. And the important thing is to burn kind of early with Syrena. That way you try to get her max 50% stack as soon as possible. And because he has his defensive down, I believe here I still basically just went ahead and attacked, a single targeted attack the enemy again. Let me go back. We burn there, and then... Okay. So... I don't know why it's taking so... I don't know why I took so long to make this decision. My apologies, guys. But yeah, you basically want to just you basically want to always focus, when your shields are down, you always want to basically just attack the boss here. There we go. Alright, there we go. So now we're caught up. Alright, and we got that extra dual attack with DN, which is increase your combat readiness. And then we're going to single attack with DN again, because once again, we're still unable to be buffed. So you want to just... Okay, so now our debuffs are off. So now with Cecilia, I believe here I went for her shield, because I can actually shield with Cecilia, which is we can't provoke the enemies, but once again we killed the other enemy, his minion, and then Cecilia has a shield up, so at least she gets protected. And then we did have our immunity down from the boss, so we were able to actually get a full barrier set with Cecilia and with DN, which was really clutch with surviving, since we're not bringing a healer. Keep in mind, we cleared this without a healer, so getting any kind of defensive buff is super crucial in the fight. And we actually were able to clear this without losing a single ally, which is pretty dope. We actually went on for a couple to basically clear out the rest of the path on the top left before we exited the raid. So you guys saw there that massive damage Syrena was able to do. So now our debuffs are, you know, null and void. So we have to kind of stick it out. So we're going to take some damage here, but we're able to still pretty much survive through the fight. Basically just through the barriers that we were able to put up with Cecilia and DN. And I do have an Abyss lifesteal set on Syrena. So even though her debuff was, you know, on to where she couldn't get, you know, barriers at that turn, she still is able to recover health with her gear set, which, you know, is pretty useful to use pseudo healing when you're not using a dedicated healer like Angelica, Acades, or Dusty. So, or Lots even, you know, is another viable option as well. You know, if you guys have any of those healers, they're still decent to bring, of course. So we kill off the enemies, and then we get in there with another strike with our girl Syrena. And then since our debuff is finally down again, we're able to go into our pump and reduce crit with DN, which is super useful. And now debuff is active once again. So now we go all into the boss, because the boss doesn't have his shield up. And I can't remember if this hit we actually got decreased combat. No, we still missed on decreased combat. But you can see how low his health is. Was actually we were in such a pretty good spot, even though a lot of our units are low health. We were really lucky with some of the attacks that they didn't attack Cez, which was super clutch. We're able then to go into, I think we use our skill 1 here to try to go for that armor break. Even though it's only a 35% chance, I still feel that it was better, because you guys see there, we're almost at the turn resets on the timeline of when the enemies are going to attack. So we have a lot of time before we're going to be, you know, facing any other attacks right now. So I believe we here went with skill 1. And once again, this was in stream, guys, so I kind of waited a little bit of time just to get everyone's input on like how I should best handle this, because it was taking me a long time throughout the day yesterday to figure out a good formula to beating this. And you guys will see in the chat up above in the top right. And you guys saw that was a lot of massive damage there from that attack. And then Cez pretty much just straight up clinches this. And he gets that extra attack, and with his ultimate, we're able to clear out the boss and finally take down Devourer. Unfortunately, the gear drops from this event were really bad. So I would say, like, honestly, like, I feel like for the amount of compasses you have to use on this event, it's honestly almost kind of not worth it. I mean, it's cool because you get one of those exchange fragments every time you kill the boss. So you have you can, after you kill 2 bosses, basically, you can get that exchange chest, and you have a chance to get Moonlight tickets, Golden Transmit Stones, Covenant Bookmarks, or you can get Gold or Mologoras as well. So you do get premium items from the exchange, but a lot of time I feel like the gear that you get from the bosses is pretty bad. Some of my other Discord members also said that the gear drops they got from killing some of the bosses were really bad too, which I feel like for 2 compasses, it's kind of crappy. But it is what it is. I'm hoping they're going to revamp the compass and stamina system soon and give us more energy and compasses, because I feel like we're at a really big bottleneck unless you're willing to spend like a lot of sky stones and leafs to refresh. But who knows? Hopefully, you know, Smilegate's going to listen to us and let us play more raids and labyrinths and things like that. Especially now that Labyrinth I feel like, so for this mode, I feel like we really should get like either 100 morale, or we should only have to pay 1 compass and just give us 50 morale and don't do 70. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's just a bottleneck on resources, in my opinion. And it's really hard to keep up unless you really want to dedicate a lot of your resources into refreshing. But then you run into that time, if you're a free-to-play player, then you're not going to have that much to summon. So that's my whole 2 cents on it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this was helpful. You guys can beat this without a healer if you guys have a similar setup. You know, any kind of buffer, debuffer works well. If you guys have armor break units, that's going to work really well. So if you guys have like specialty Clary, even though she's going to be type disadvantaged for the minions, those minions really shouldn't attack you very frequently. Just deal with them when they come up. And Clary is going to do decent for being able to, I think she gets like 100% status armor break on that. So as soon as he doesn't have his shield up, you can hit him with that armor break, and then you should be in there for a lot of insane damage with your single target DPSer. So thank you guys so much for continuing to support as always on the channel. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's epicseven video, and look forward to seeing my next video on the raids. Hopefully we can beat another one of the bosses very, very soon. If not today, hopefully you know, Tuesday or Wednesday when I have some time to sit down and do some more testing. But until then, guys, it's Fort Misery Gaming. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next epicseven video. Peace out, guys.